What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Ben Ballion, back with another episode of the Sports Pod. And in today's episode, I'm going to preview the 2025-26 NBA season. I'm going to preview what I think my New York Knicks are going to do, and I'm going to go around the league, give you my top teams in each conference, who I think the MVP is, and at the end of the episode, my NBA Finals prediction. All right, I'll get into all of it on the other side of the intro. Hit it.
DiVincenzo at three. Bang! Bang! At the wall, he jumps. It's gone. He did it. He did it. Pete Alonso with the most memorable home run of his career.
All right, getting into the episode, and I'm going to start with my Knicks. All right, so heading in to the 2025 season, I'm honestly not sure what to expect. But the things that I am sure of is that this team is going to play at a lot faster of a pace, and the stats might not reflect that because I know in the preseason they were ranked 31 for pace ahead of like a European team and one other NBA team. But I think it's just going to appear to be so much faster after what we watched last year and the past couple of years under Tom Thibodeau, because that is what Mike Brown is going to bring to a team. When he was the head coach of the Kings, they had the fastest offense in the NBA, I believe. The Knicks have guys that can get out and benefit from transition offense. I think Mikal Bridges definitely had a down year in 2024. And I think a lot of that is because the Knicks did play slower. And Mikal really isn't a half-court player. He's a guy that'll hit a transition three here. He'll get out in the open court and he'll drive on you. He's got surprising bounce. I think that's one of the more underrated aspects of his game is how well he can jump. But Mikal Bridges can get up and dunk on someone. I think it's going to benefit Jalen Brunson a lot as well. Because in the past, Jalen Brunson has been awesome playing in a half court. But if he can get out, if he can get space, if he can have room to operate in the open floor with two other men running down the court with him, splitting to the corners, and he's got one guy to take to the rim, I mean, that's just going to benefit him so much. One-on-one, I am taking Jalen Brunson over 95% of the NBA. I think there's only maybe 4 or 5 players that I would take coming down the lane on a transition fast break opportunity more than Jalen Brunson. I think Giannis is definitely up there. I mean, the dude's his nickname, the Greek Freak, isn't for nothing. He is awesome, moving with room to operate. I think 2 is Anthony Edwards. His athleticism, his ability to jump with anything, unrivaled. 3, maybe even still in his 23rd season, LeBron James is up there. He's probably not, and this list isn't in order. These are just guys that I think are really good in the open floor. And now that I think about it, how I'm comparing it to Jalen Brunson, I don't think I would put LeBron on that list. I think Giannis, Anthony Edwards, I don't think Shea is better in that kind of situation. Shea is probably the better basketball player overall. But one-on-one, two-on-one in transition, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander that's not his bread and butter. And that's something I think Jalen Brunson can have a ton of success doing here in 2025. Because his dribble package is there. When the Knicks are playing in the half court, I don't know why they didn't get out in transition. And I get it. It's because it's Tom Thibodeau's style, and that's what he preached last year. But the fast-paced offense that the Knicks are going to run this year is going to benefit not only Jalen Brunson, but I think just the team as a whole. I think OG Anunoby is certainly going to play better. I think Josh Hart, of course. Josh Hart, I think it's a given that he would play better running with the offense running more. I think that speaks to what he tries to do, create chaos, and that's what the Knicks are going to do. I think there was one preseason game, maybe it was the game in Abu Dhabi against the Sixers, where the Knicks didn't call a play. There's no way that doesn't benefit the team because it'll let them work better under duress. It'll teach them to not get knocked off their game plan if something isn't going how they envisioned it. I think the Knicks are going to be really good this year. And listen, you have to have patience. Similar to how I was preaching patience with Jackson Dart and the New York Giants, you have to preach patience with Mike Brown and this New York Knicks offense. It's not going to happen overnight where they can transition from Tom Thibodeau, who is going to play his guys through the wall. He's going to run them all over the place, to Mike Brown, who is going to be a little bit more of a player's coach. I'm not sure how much the minutes are going to differ, honestly. I think they'll definitely be different in favor of the players. But there was the final preseason game against the Hornets where the Knicks brought Mikal Bridges back in, up 15 or 14, whatever it was, with 11 minutes in the game, where even if you lose that game, it doesn't matter. So, but you're bringing him back in. I guess you want his win. They're probably scripting minutes. So there's arguments for both sides of it. But I really hope that Brown is careful with the minutes that he's playing these guys, because in 2023, the Knicks had nobody left. In 2024, the team was pretty banged up. I mean, Josh was injured in the playoffs, I believe. Mitch probably had something that was wrong. There's no way he was 100% right. They're always run down, and I think that's a common theme throughout Tom Thibodeau's career. Everyone hears it, but Mike Brown does not have that same narrative, and I think starting opening night, we're going to see that, because Josh Hart will miss game 1 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's dealing with a lower back injury, I believe, some kind of spasms, but Mitchell Robinson is also out for load management. I mean, I know I'm talking about how I want the Knicks to be careful, but how are you load managing game 1? I mean, that just makes no sense to me. You had the whole offseason to rest. You were at home. You were in Nashville doing whatever. And then you didn't play all too much in the preseason unless you got injured at practice. I just don't understand it. You're load managing the opening game of the season. However, the Knicks were without Mitchell Robinson until March of last year, and they were able to be successful. So I would expect it's going to be a lot of the same. They're going to be fine without him. The only issue I'm seeing now is that Karl-Anthony Towns is also questionable for the game, as well as OG Anunoby. So I'm not too sure how this is going to play out. I'm interested to see. Though, if I could say one thing for certain, that the Knicks are going to be just a ton more careful in everything they do. Us Knicks fans, we're not used to seeing load management. We're not used to seeing players sitting out, being cautious, because Tom Thibodeau flat out didn't let them do that. This year, it's going to be a completely different story with Mike Brown. And then I got a couple more things on the Knicks. Giannis, the whole narrative over the summer where the Knicks were in on Giannis. They were having some negotiations, but they never really thought the Bucks were actually interested, and they were just talking to talk. I don't know how much to read into all of that. The problem, so Shams is clearly the number one NBA reporter, right? The problem is he gave conflicting reports where the first report said that both teams were negotiating, but then the next day it came out that the Knicks never felt the Bucks were engaged and really interested in moving Giannis. Now, I don't know how much I would want Giannis on this team, especially because I don't want to part ways with the guys that it's going to take to give up. I mean, I think there are a couple different ways you can go about this, but I have a couple pairings of Knicks players that you would need to give up for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Number 1, Mikal Bridges or OG Anunoby. You have to give up one of your two wings. I mean, I think that's flat out. Those are the top players of the trade. And then the next tier of players is Josh Hart. I think he's on a tier by himself in this aspect. Maybe you could throw one of the guys from the next tier I'm going to talk about, but you're going to have to give up Josh. I would say probably 90% chance you give up Josh. And then the third tier of players is Tyler Kolek or Deuce McBride. You got to give to get. Deuce McBride's contract is such a steal, which is the reason I didn't put him in the category with Josh Hart, that the money's just not going to match up. Well, I guess I would have to look more into it, but I don't know off the top of my head what Giannis's contract is, but OG and Mikal were both recently paid, and they're making a large sum of money, so it might not matter as much the auxiliary pieces you include, and especially Deuce McBride, who's not going to throw it over on the flip side, where now the Knicks are giving too much money and not getting enough back in return from Giannis. So Deuce might work. I honestly, I wouldn't like to give up Deuce. Tyler Kolek's got a future, I think, in New York on the Knicks. I could see him getting some opportunity this year. However, I don't think Pacom Dadier, who I was high on last year, I thought he had a chance to develop into a solid young player. I don't think he's just not going to get the opportunity over Mike Brown. But that's fine. He's still got time to develop. I'm not too worried about that. And just staying on the topic of the young guys, I think Ariel Hukporti is definitely going to get a chance this year. I don't see a world where he doesn't. And the reports right now are that if Cat doesn't play on Wednesday night, that Hukporti might get the chance to start. And regardless if Cat plays or not, he still might get the chance. So Hukporti's got to turn into the new Hartenstein. He's going to be coming off the bench. He's got the little floater game, number 55. Hukporti could be, I don't see it happening this year, but maybe next year, the year after, Hukporti could turn into that Isaiah Hartenstein and play that role for the Knicks. And the last thing I want to say about the Knicks before I open this up to the rest of the NBA is that they finally have a bench. The New York Knicks, under Tom Thibodeau, never had a fully developed bench. But this year, with Jordan Clarkson and Gershon Yabusele and Ariel Hukporti and Deuce McBride and I might have said Jordan Clarkson already, but that's 4 guys. I know I'm forgetting someone. Landry Shamet is also in the mix. Malcolm Brogdon retiring was kind of abrupt. I thought it was interesting. I didn't really see a reason for it, but he never played a game, so it's not that big of a deal. I'm trying to look at the roster right now. Josh could be coming off the bench. It depends what they want to do with the starting lineup, which I'll get to in a minute. I forgot to mention that earlier in the episode. But yeah, those are really all the bench guys. So what I think with the bench is that they're going to get more opportunity, and it's just gonna benefit the team as a whole. I mean, the fact that it's developed is also going to allow Mike Brown to utilize those guys, where previously Thibodeau had to run his starters out there because he had no one on his bench that could do what he needed them to do. So Mike Brown will be able to use his bench, and I think it's more of a situational thing. But Mike Brown and Leon Rose also could have gotten together and said, okay, let's really develop the bench this offseason. I want to be a guy who's running my bench players out there. Maybe not equal minutes as the starters, but certainly a lot more than Tom Thibodeau did, where Thibodeau might have told Leon, hey, I don't really need that great of a bench. The starters are going to play more anyway. Let's spend more on the starting 5. And that's how they were going to work that out. But now it's a different time. That's the best way to describe it. It's a different time in New York. It's going to take time for everything to evolve. So Knicks fans just have to be patient. They have to wait it out, and they have to take what they have. And now getting to the starting lineup. All right, here I'm just going to run through my starting 5. Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Karl-Anthony Towns, Mitchell Robinson. I mean, when Mitch started in the playoffs last year, it was really hard to stop. When they ran out that double big look, teams did not have much success in stopping Mitchell Robinson, who was flat out a monster on the offensive boards. But on the occasions where Mitch doesn't play, which I think is going to happen quite often, you're going to play Josh Hart. He's going to slide into the 2, and Mikal, OG, and Cat all slide down 1. And then if both Josh and Cat are out, I would rather start Deuce McBride and move everyone down, then start Ariel Hukporty and keep Bridges, OG, Cat in the 2, 3, and 4 rather than the 3, 4, and 5. But I don't think it'll matter that much because, like I said, the bench is going to play a lot this year. So, Knicks fans, this is the year. This is make or break. This is championship or bust. And I think the Knicks are going to have a tremendous season. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was looking up what the Knicks single season win record was a couple days ago. The number is set at 60. I think it's attainable. The Knicks are going to be really freaking good this year. And I cannot wait for Wednesday night, 7 o'clock to come, where we'll be watching the New York Knicks play from the Mecca against the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's here. We made it back to the NBA season. I mean, this is my favorite time of the year. The NBA is my favorite sport. I think 1A, 1B with the MLB, but I think the NBA has a slight uptick over the MLB. I enjoy the MLB playoffs more. I think the drama with every pitch is just unrivaled, but regular season wise, the NBA, I think the NFL has the best regular season, but the NBA is so fun. I love basketball. I think basketball, I could break game film down more than any other sport. Baseball, I've got an eye for baseball too, but definitely NFL I'm worse at. But the NBA, I can decipher plays and analyze more than any other sport. So basketball is probably, I don't know, the Knicks are probably my favorite team, saying 1A, 1B with the Mets. But it's basketball season again. This is the best time of year. We got NFL, NBA, World Series all in the same week. We made it to another sports equinox. And now let me get to the top 3 teams from either conference. These are going to be my predictions, starting with the East. I'll go from 3 to 1. So we don't start off, so we don't go number 1 and lose the juice real quick. The East is tough. I think there's 2 teams that are going to be 1 and 2 pretty clearly, but then the third is up for grabs. So with the 3 seed, I'm going to take the Indiana Pacers. As much as it pains me to do it, I just don't think there's any other team that's going to be as good. I think the Magic are going to be in the mix for the 3 seed. I think the Heat have a chance to be in there because they're always good. It doesn't matter. Under Erik Spoelstra, the Heat just find ways to win. The other team I was looking at was the Pistons. They had a good season last year. They're young and exciting. The reason I left the Bucks out of there is because there's just too much drama around the team. I think they'll be playoffs / play-in. They'll be on the fringe. But they're certainly not the 3 seed. So yeah, I'm taking the Pacers. Despite losing Tyrese Halliburton, I think they're going to be good enough. I don't know. The supporting cast is going to be there. It's either going to be the Pacers or the Magic, who will get Paolo Banchero back full-time this year after he struggled with injuries in 2024. I like that young core as well. Matter of fact, let me flop to the Magic. Yeah, let's do Paolo Banchero, Desmond Bane, Cole Anthony, that group of guys over Aaron Nesmith and Andrew Nembhard. They don't even have Miles Turner. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. That was a bad take with the Pacers. We're going to go with the Magic in the 3 seed. And then in the 2 seed, it's the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're the betting favorite to win the East, but not in my eyes. I think my New York Knicks are going to come out on top of the Eastern Conference in 2025. Like I said, I think they're going to be up there, high 50s, maybe even 60s as far as win totals go. But don't get me wrong, the Cavs are going to have a really good season, and I think this 1st and 2nd seed could go either way. It's going to be a race till the last weekend of the season. But I think the Knicks are right there. I think they have it in them. The problem is going to be, it's going to take them time to adjust to Mike Brown's style of offense. Mike Brown, as a whole, I mean, Karl-Anthony Towns was talking about how he's not even sure of what his role completely is yet. So it's just going to take time. So by New Year's, I would expect everything to be straightened out and the Knicks to be firing on all cylinders. So I think Knicks take home the East, but it's not going to be pretty until around New Year's, Christmas maybe. But the Cavs are going to have a really good season, and it's going to be a real good test on opening night tomorrow, whether the Knicks have it in them to take home the Eastern Conference title. All right, now moving over to the Western Conference, my number 3 seed is the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think Anthony Edwards is going to have another uptick. Last year, he really developed his three-point shooting, which I want to see him continue in 2025. I think he has it in him to do it, and obviously his athleticism is off the charts. He can get to the lane and dunk on anyone. The Timberwolves are going to be the number 3 seed in the Western Conference, rather. The number 2 seed is going to be the Denver Nuggets. When Nikola Jokic set to hit free agency after this year, he doesn't have to prove much, but it is still a prove-it year for the Joker, and he's going to prove it to everyone. I think he'll certainly average a triple-double. And the Nuggets with Jamal Murray, Christian Braun. And let me just say this about Christian Braun. As a role player, getting $125 million is ridiculous. The NBA money is just off the charts, and no other league can rival it. Well, I don't care if Soto is getting $765 million. He is a superstar 1A MVP type player. Christian Braun comes off the bench for the Nuggets, and he's still in the triple digits of millions. That's just ridiculous to me. Nonetheless, I do think the Nuggets are the 2nd seed in the Western Conference when all is said and done, leaving the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder as your Western Conference champions. I mean, the Western Conference is definitely more deep than the East. I just don't think any other team has the talent, the ability, the coaching to rival the Thunder. I mean, they really have it all. They have the depth, they have the speed, they could slow you down and play the half-court game as well. The Thunder are probably the favorites to go back-to-back and win the NBA Finals. However, that's not how I'm gonna do it. I'll get to my NBA Finals prediction in just a couple minutes. My MVP, though, for 2025 is Nikola Jokic. The voter fatigue is gone. He hasn't won it in a couple years, I believe. At least 1 year, because I know SGA won it last year. I can't remember who won the year before that. And like I said, he's going to have to prove it this year. So Jokic is going to put a show on for us in the 2025 season. He'll win the MVP. SGA is going to be a close competitor. Jalen Brunson will be up there. Brunson just doesn't have to do as much because he has Karl-Anthony Towns at his side. I mean, could Giannis do it as his free agency looms large, as trade rumors are on the horizon? Maybe. I do think it's going to be Nikola Jokic. He plays in the better conference. And overall, I think he's the most talented player in the NBA. Which leaves me with my NBA Finals prediction. First, representing the Western Conference from Oklahoma City, it's the Thunder. They're going to make it back to the finals. That's not saying they're going to win it yet. Like I said, nobody has it all like the Thunder do. And if they could stay healthy like they did last year, I don't see anyone getting in their way of heading back to the NBA Finals. And on the other side of the bracket from the Eastern Conference is the New York Knicks. Go New York, go New York, go. They're going to be dancing all the way into the NBA Finals. I mean, if they don't do it this year or next year, it's really the end of their championship window. They've got to get it done, and I think they will this year. Once I said, once they get everything straightened out, by January, maybe February at the latest, and their offense is running and gunning. The team chemistry is up to par. The transition offense is on point, but the start of transition offense is rock solid defense, so their defense is on point. I don't think anyone in the Eastern Conference is going to stop them. I am not a big believer in the Cleveland Cavaliers. I didn't believe in them last year. I didn't believe in them the year before that. I don't think they're good enough. They don't have the three-point shooting in the front court. Evan Mobley and Jared Allen can't shoot the three like Karl-Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby can. I know Mitchell Robinson is most likely going to play the 5, but if Cat is playing the 5. OG is the 4, and he's a knockdown 3-point shooter. He is a 3-and-D player. Knicks versus Thunder in the NBA Finals. Now, this is where it gets real interesting. The best of the Eastern Conference, the best of the Western Conference. I know it's all chalk, but I think that's how it's going to be as long as these teams can stay healthy. And the Knicks, I'm pointing to more for stay healthy. Your 2025 NBA champions are the Oklahoma City Thunder. It hurts me. It hurts me inside to go against the Knicks, and I know it. I know it might be even a little bit of homerism choosing them to get to the NBA Finals, but I think we saw in last year's matchups that the Knicks just can't hang with the Thunder on the offensive side of the ball. And under Mike Brown, that very well could change. But until the Knicks prove it to me, I think the Thunder are the better team, and they'll come out on top and go back-to-back and win the 2025-26 NBA championship. All right, that's going to do it for the episode. If you enjoyed, please consider commenting, following, subscribing, sharing. I really appreciate all of it. Also, if you want to leave a voicemail of your hot takes and sports questions featured on the Sports Pod, you can do so by leaving a voicemail at the number 848-305-8073. Again, that's 848-305-8073. And last but not least, make sure you keep it locked with the Sports Pod.